Hi, welcome back to week 3 of the gaming update. I'm Salem, and with me is Guilty. Say hi, Guilty.
What's up?
Today is going to be a little bit shorter. Not a whole lot going on in gaming this week.
No.
We're going to start off with Steam Next Fest. So there's quite a few demos of upcoming games that came out or that are going to come out, but the demos are available now. We're going to talk about our 8 top ones that you should give a try. After that, we're going to get into Xbox apparently possibly getting rid of exclusivity with their video games.
Ooh.
After that, we will be talking about Persona 3. Just a recent game came out that we both are loving, in particular Guilty. Guilty's obsessed with it right now.
Pretty good game. Like it.
Yep. So, Guilty, you want to go ahead and kick us off into the next fest?
Yeah, mouth washing.
Yes. So the first demo we got for you guys is a game called Mouthwashing. It's a single player game. We've got 5 crew members of the Tolpar are stranded in the empty reaches of space, shrouded in perpetual sunset. God is not watching. So it's a psychological horror game.
This reminds me of Videodrome or something like that.
Yes, yeah. So it's that old school. Yeah, we're actually seeing a lot of this art style of like the N64 era, PlayStation 1 era graphics coming back. You've seen it in Mouthwash. We talked about Abiotic Factor last week.
Yeah.
Has the same old school art style.
Right.
You're seeing a lot of those coming back recently, but this one looked in particular interesting to me. It's story heavy, and it looks like it's trying to do something new that we haven't seen before in a video game, which always fascinates me.
It looks interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. If anything, it's new.
It's new, and it probably isn't gonna hit your graphics card too hard.
Yeah.
Moving on to Abiotic Factor, which actually is a multiplayer game that has a demo available right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We were planning on playing it earlier this week, but we ended up being busy. So
yeah, always the busy. I built a new machine, so everything has to get moved over to the new machine so that both locations can be the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is actually the second demo that Abiotic Factor's actually had in the past couple months. I played the first one. It's again that N64 PS1 era graphics. We talked about it last week, but it's just a short recap. It's a survival crafting experience in basically Half-Life 2 in the Black Mesa facility. So it obviously doesn't say that. That's copyrighted, but it's very similar
the
vibe.
Spiritual Black Mesa facility.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, it's that, but with a survival crafting. So you loot resources, you craft a little base, a crafting table, bed, all that sort of stuff. You have to eat, drink. Fantastic. I was absolutely loving it when I played the first demo. Yeah. So moving on.
Yeah. Oh my, Pacific Drive. Actually it's going to get playtime for me.
Yes. So this was in my top 3 games that I'm looking forward to this year, and it looks fantastic. I played a little bit of this demo, and it's incredible. My only complaint so far with the demo is the controls are
no Chevy Chase.
Heavy, and Chevy Chase is not right.
I mean, you got the Vista Cruiser there, so
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Woody Wagon. So, but no, it's fantastic so far. It's gonna probably be one of my top games after it releases for this year.
What I've learned is, while I do appreciate early access titles for studios that use the funds appropriately, this seems to be one of those studios.
Yes.
By time these things get released, the game is so much different than what you experienced in early access.
Yeah.
If they're doing it right.
Yeah, if they're doing it right. Yep.
But it looks great. It looks fun.
Yeah. Set in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Yeah, the setting, the gameplay, the enemies that they've got in there are fantastic. Definitely suggest giving it a try.
It's a really fun idea.
Yes. Yeah. Like, they've got fantastic enemies and yeah.
But imagine like storyboarding kind of, or like coming up with the concept. Dude, imagine if you had a station wagon and you could soup it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's fantastic because you go in there and you actually do work on the station wagon that you're driving around. You replace tires, you fix up tires, you give it new paint jobs, and it's the demo. It was chef's kiss. So
it's I will at least give them the full release price, because what they've done so far is very nice.
Yeah. Well, it's actually on sale too right now if you pre-purchase for 10% off. So
yeah,
from 30 to 27. So.
Not bad.
Yep.
Moving
on.
Dungeonborn. Yep. You can be naked and sitting around a campfire.
We also talked about this one last week as well. This was our 2 demos that we talked about on what we're playing now. So, quick recap for you guys that missed last episode. Dungeonborn's immersive first-person PvPvE dungeon crawler. Venture solo or join forces with trusted companions to hunt for treasure, explore ominous dungeons, and battle terrifying monsters and cunning adversaries. Escape before succumbing to darkness and greed. Anyone that has played Tarkov will understand this game loop very well. You go into the dungeon or raid, as in Tarkov.
It's fantasy.
Kill.
Tarkov.
It's fantasy Tarkov, yeah. In dungeon, you got minotaurs, you got wizards, all that sort of stuff. But you go in, loot, try to extract with your newfound loot.
I remember one of the first games at Tarkov I played was probably with you.
Yep, yeah, I remember.
And you guys all got mortified, and I beat someone to death with a hatchet.
Yes.
Well,
I think after we all hatchet,
my lungs
charged them.
Yes. So, things like that make games like this completely amazing.
Yes.
But the fact, given the option, would you rather be wielding an M4 or a magical staff?
I honestly like the military sim aspect of Tarkov. So I would probably pick. I haven't played release on this yet, so I would have to give that fair.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I do like the military sim aspect of Tarkov for literally being the best in its class.
Yeah. Yep.
So many people PUBG is fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a tag game.
Yeah.
Tarkov's it's like an adult game.
Yes.
And all the other ones are like children's games.
Yeah. PUBG is closer to Fortnite than it is Tarkov. So.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
But moving on, we've got the back rooms.
Yes. So I don't know how many of you are this made the list for me because I don't know how many of you are familiar with the back rooms, but it's a concept that originated on 4chan a few years ago. It started with a screenshot of some of just plain orange, dingy, like kind of office buildings rooms that were kind of laid out in a weird way. And what spawned it was the text that came along with the picture was talking about how somebody had essentially no-clipped. So like in video games, if you like clip through the floor and then you fall out of the level.
You mean Bethesda style?
Yes, Bethesda. If you've played a Bethesda game, you know exactly what we're talking about. You've fallen through the map. But so somebody had the kind of lore that goes along with the picture was somebody had no-clipped in real life into the back room and fell into the back rooms, which are just thousands and thousands of acres, square miles of just unending, weirdly set up rooms.
David Bowie singing in the background.
David Bowie, what?
Yeah, singing. He's the Goblin King, sir.
Sure. But yeah, so it spawned a whole internet kind of community that loved the whole idea of, no clipping out of the real world into an endless kind of, they call it liminal spaces. And sorry, go ahead.
There was an RPG. It was a side-scrolling RPG. It's available on pretty much everything, I think. That essentially you're playing Dungeons and Dragons with your buddies.
Yeah.
And then you go take a leak, and then you go back out of the bathroom, and you essentially clipped into another realm, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
this is oh no.
yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of that. If you want to know more about like the backrooms and that kind of lore, Kane Pixels on YouTube did a I think it's up to 13 little short episodes, like 10-minute episodes on like the backrooms, and it's really good, really fascinating. You'll kind of get an idea for it there. But no,
the co-op.
Yeah, so this is multiplayer co-op. You clip into the backrooms, and I've always, since I found the whole lore of the backrooms, I've been, a fan. So this is kind of tickled my fancy.
VHS style visuals, proximity voice chat, which would I'm not opposed to that. That actually builds immersion. Yeah. And a level editor, which is kind of neat. But moving on. We are now at The Four Sins.
Yes. So this is a horror game for anybody fans of horror. We've got three of them, I believe, in this our list here. But The Sins 4 looks very interesting to me because it's set in somewhere in China. I forget what the actual city is, but looks.
Wait. There's more than one city in China?
No, it's one giant city.
It's one giant city?
Oh. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. But no, the description for it is: a few days ago, a woman named Li Wen committed suicide by throwing herself into a well. When everyone wanted to enter the house, when everyone wanted to enter the house, there was a sudden lightning flash. A figure was seen standing outside the outfit. This was clearly written by broken English Chinese. It is the ghost of Li Wen? ? Or is there someone else? But no, if you look through the screenshots and sorry, what?
Is it the ghost of Li Wen? ?
But no, the screenshots and the couple trailers that they have for it looks like it's a pretty interesting party based, and it's online co-op as well, which I'm always a sucker for online co-op.
Each match includes 4 players. When you explore the Qingsong town, you are obliged to find more information.
Broken English descriptions are just fantastic.
And figure out the riddle together with other players. Each character will have their exclusive experience in role-playing performance. Everyone is engaged in this interactive film in the end. Oh, so it's like a story building thing.
Yeah. So and it's online 4-player co-op. I think it's 4. But yeah, so that's what really kind of drew me to it originally, was the online co-op, and then it looks like a really fascinating horror. And I've always been a fan of like Asian horror, Japanese and Chinese horror. It always just has that kind of otherworldly aspect to it. If anyone's familiar with like the like actual,
they have a different sense of fright than we
exactly.
We do.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And it always,
and it's usually actually frightening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's what caught my eye with this one.
Moving on to Synergy. Oh, yes. This actually is a post-apocalyptic city builder.
Yep. Okay. And it's all hand-drawn, which is what caught my attention originally. The artwork is beautiful. If you're looking at these screenshots, it just looks fantastic. Yeah, it's such an original art style, which is incredibly rare in gaming these days, is to have an original art style.
It's hard to not copy someone, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and any game that has something original like that is an art style is worth looking into. I mean, you saw the same thing with like Cuphead, where it did the like 1930s, 40s cartoon art style, and it was
very nice.
Set itself apart, was beautiful to look at, and hadn't been done yet.
Also, sidetrack. Yeah, I think every frame was hand drawn and scanned.
Yes, for Cuphead, which was just incredible and made the entire game just a treat for the eyes. So that alone makes I put Synergy on my playlist for this year.
So, have you played Farthest Frontier?
I have. I love that game.
It's a fantastic game, and
Yep.
Crate is amazing.
Great.
Yeah,
Is that
they made
who
they
made it.
them and they made Grim Dawn and Farthest Frontier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you look at Farthest Frontier, while it's not explicitly in the pre Grim Dawn world,
Sure.
aesthetically it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Moving on to the next
Yep.
fest.
And we couldn't leave out some sort of Japanese RPG. This is a tactics RPG. If you're familiar with like Final Fantasy Tactics or Ogre or any of those other
Persona
popular-
5 Tactica.
Persona
It's
5
the
Tactica.
new one that's out that people are playing.
I hadn't played that one, but yeah, if you're a fan of the tactics games, this looks all the pixel art looks incredible. Again, this has a very original looking pixel art. If you look through some of these, it looks like a very pretty game to look at. That's the main thing that caught my attention. Other than that, I wouldn't expect much to change with the tactical RPG aspects. Or
No, it's a
innovative or
RPG.
new.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what to expect. So, yeah.
Well, that I mean, although it was very interesting that Atlas USA or Atlas in general, which I guess is owned by Sega now, but I don't know how many strings they're actually pulling. They may just own, but Atlas developed Persona 5 Tactica out of nowhere. I don't think any of the other Persona games got a tactics game. I don't think they did,
Not
but
that I know of.
there was other tactics-based games made by Atlas, but I don't think any of the Persona games have them.
Yeah.
So I think because 5 is the most popular, it was the most commercial. Clearly the most commercial.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're best selling, I believe. So
easy.
yeah.
I think that's why it's got it. But then there's like Persona Q and Persona Q2. I
didn't play those, so
I think we're gonna see more tactics-based games coming out just because of these titles. This is going to be new, and I think people will see some playtime.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot in different genres and popularity with genres as you see them rise with
ebb and flow,
and then they fall off when people get tired of them, and then decade later, however many years later, that no one's played them for a while, so a new one will come out which will reignite the popularity in that genre. So you see them wave,
right,
ebb and flow of genres and that sort of stuff. So
well, that leads us into Microsoft reportedly considering releasing several Xbox exclusives on the PS5, including Starfield.
Yep. Yeah.
So do you actually give a shit about Starfield at all?
No, but I care about I don't care about Starfield, but I care about what this implies with Xbox in general. And I honestly like the way this is going with the game industry.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah. So I never liked the idea of exclusives.
No.
It fragments
it's also
the market.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb.
You don't make as much money.
Exactly. They're trying to basically, circle the wagons on their hardware,
right?
The Xbox or the PlayStation, and basically keep everyone into their little ecosystem and trying to
doesn't work.
Keep
anymore.
People from playing. Yeah, exactly, and it doesn't work anymore. And I think what has actually pushed Xbox. So that's the initial intro article to this topic that I wanted to bring up. And then if you go into the second article, this was actually the Microsoft CEO back last June. So
June 28th, 2023.
Yeah, so like 8 months ago. He was talking about how he wants to end exclusives altogether.
He's very bald.
He is very bald, yes.
That means he's smart.
It does it. Does it?
Judging from
I've known some dumb bald people.
No, you haven't.
Dumb bald.
You just think you do.
You're one of them.
All bald people. I have hair, sir.
On your face doesn't count.
It's all over. Now, just to paint a picture, PS5 has these exclusives that I will never know because I am never going to buy a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Final Fantasy 16?
Yep.
And the remake of Demon's Souls.
Demon's Souls. They've got the Last of Us franchise. They've got.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit about the Last of Us.
I mean, the first one was good. I'm not. That's a different topic. But yes, they have
the first one. But yeah.
The point being, Sony actually has successful exclusives that they've released in the past 4 or 5 years, half a decade.
Yeah.
Xbox is, with their recent acquisitions of Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, Bethesda, I forget what other big ones they've acquired, but their releases with those games, this actually leads into my other receipts that I have brought. If you look at the Steam charts for Starfield currently, over the all time, so starting back in September, it had a healthy player base of concurrent players of more than 250,000, more than 250,000.
All time is 330 and a half.
Exactly. Yes. If you look at the last, well, that was September. So let's go since even November of that same. So 2 months later, it had fallen to 43,000. Currently, it's averaging roughly 10,000 players.
26 minutes ago, 10,000 players, essentially.
Yes. So it is not very successful. And
that game,
in comparison to that, is Skyrim. So if you look at the second one.
Yeah, Skyrim.
Current
Dude,
players.
You know what I decided to download and play today?
What?
Skyrim.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's everybody. Everyone just always goes back to Skyrim because there's the mods, there's everything. But no, so if you look at actual Skyrim's numbers, 24-hour peak was 31,000. 3 times the amount that are currently playing Starfield.
Guilty was that one on the end.
Yeah, he was that 300. He was that
one.
11th.
Yeah. That one.
So, yeah, when you're comparing just those two, Elder Scrolls from the same company, Bethesda, one released under Microsoft, the prior, when Bethesda was its own standalone. So under Microsoft, they have I would argue, a failure of a game.
We're looking
Starfield.
at the special edition too.
Of Skyrim. Yeah,
this is just the special edition. This is not the entire, ES5.
It's not Legendary Edition. Yeah.
Correct. The 70,000 just on the special edition. This is an additive thing that we're not adding.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. And 27,000 as of 28 minutes ago.
Yes. Yep. So yeah, with that taken into account, and then if you go to my third receipt, we're looking at Diablo 4. Now this is only the Steam charts. This isn't through Blizzard's own.
But Blizzard doesn't really give us a count.
Correct.
Because that would be detrimental to their business.
Correct. Yes. So this is just looking at people currently playing on Steam, not their own Battle.net launcher. But in the last 24 hours, you had 11,000 peak. If anyone's paying attention to the Diablo 4, community, no one's happy with the game right now. Everyone's bored with it.
I would go so far to say is the people who are still streaming it are doing it because they have to.
Yeah. Yep. So obviously they have another, if not failure of a game on their hands, they have a very contentious relationship with their fans in Diablo 4. The other big title coming out of Microsoft with these recent acquisitions was Redfall. So if you look at Redfall's concurrent players on Steam,
this is insanity.
Keep in mind this game came out less than a year ago.
But this is specifically on Steam, and I have to preface this: it was a game day release title for Xbox Game Pass.
Yes.
It's only ever had 1,560 players on Steam at one time.
Yes, that was its all-time peak. Its last 24-hour peak was 57. Currently, playing in the last 2 hours was 35. This, again, is another huge failure. If you look at any of the reviews for it, anything like that.
It sucked.
Yes. So Microsoft, over the past couple years, with several big acquisitions, they have had failure after failure of releases of
Well,
games.
this was a Bethesda failure.
Well, yeah,
right?
which was acquired. Yeah, which is now
Oh, yeah.
studio
Microsoft
Microsoft.
probably wouldn't have released this.
I mean, I believe this was all
Was this
planned
post or
under.
pre?
Uh,
Or was it during the acquisition? I think it was during.
It was probably during, but either
I'm
way,
gonna
this
say
was a Microsoft release.
my right hand is Bethesda. Hey, Microsoft, we got Redfall. It's gonna be super cool. And then Microsoft's over here, like, oh, I like money. Okay, I believe you. And then Bethesda's like, oh, here it is. And then, oh my God, this is ass.
Yes.
No more making decisions for you, Bethesda. And now it's all Microsoft.
Yes. But so to get to the point of these Steam charts, Microsoft's recent acquisitions of several large, big studios has resulted in less than stellar game releases. And they were.
What do you mean less than stellar? This was ass.
Yes. So they were meant to be exclusives, especially Starfield. Starfield is supposed to be the flag title for the Bethesda Microsoft merger.
Yeah, okay, just decide.
In order to push the current Xbox.
In your heart of hearts, do you think anyone who worked on that and played the launch version believed what you just said?
What?
That it was going to be the flagship of Bethesda moving into the future, essentially.
Well, not moving into the future. That was.
Or they were current
Starfield. Yes. So what we're talking about, Microsoft acquiring Bethesda.
Right.
That was ZeniMax technically, but yes, acquiring Bethesda, and at the time, Bethesda was working on Starfield. Starfield was their next huge title release,
right?
Coming off of the back of Fallout 4 and Skyrim, two huge titles.
Fallout 76.
Kind of sure, but that was not the Bethesda studios.
I think they've worked on 76 more than they have 4 recently. They're continuing.
I mean, they're putting updates and stuff out for it. Yes, but So Bethesda had success. Starfield was their next big title. There's a huge fan base behind Bethesda games, and they were expecting Starfield to be a huge draw for Xbox over PlayStation, being exclusive.
They wanted
to
that
Xbox.
To happen.
Correct. Yeah. Same with Redfall, same with Diablo 4, and these games just fell short. So I think what we're seeing here with Xbox talking about getting rid of exclusivity is they are seeing the writing on the wall that they are losing the hardware battle with Sony, and they are moving into more of a focus on software of the actual titles.
Of these games.
Yep.
Diablo, Redfall, Starfield.
Yep.
I have a theory that once a company becomes so compartmentalized and so big, and it's making something like a game, it'll almost always end up like this because it's compartmentalized and too big to actually work. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. No one's paying attention to each other. Emails don't get answered. Whatever the case be, we have seen time and time again massive projects that are compartmentalized, and I'm specifically saying compartmentalized for a reason.
Yeah.
If you and I were to get with 50 people and use something like ClickUp and do it ourselves and work agilely, like agile work seems to be better than this compartmentalized AAA horse shit that we're getting.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a huge factor in the quality of AAA games that we're seeing recently.
Yeah.
But so that was just kind of the wrap up of the Xbox getting rid of exclusives, kind of my thoughts on why they're doing it. They had failures of their exclusivity of most of their games that were exclusive. And I think they're trying to pivot into a more open and hopefully focus. I'm hoping results from this is they give up. Xbox fanboys are going to really hate me for this, but I hope they give up the Xbox as a platform and focus mostly on their actual software and IPs. Kind of like what Sega did. The Sega Genesis. Sega used to make consoles, They stopped, and now they're only making games.
So Sega bought Atlas, dude.
Yeah. Yep. So
not a bad idea considering Atlas makes some of the best JRPGs there are.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's kind of what Microsoft is maybe testing and playing around with this reduction or potential removal of exclusivities from their titles. I hope it's a success. I hope they focus more of their resources and time on making actual games rather than a hardware. But we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah. So my wants. So I have an Xbox for when I'm not around my PC.
Mm-hmm.
And my dream is for me to be able to use it to play a game made by any company.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be an Xbox. It's just a tool that I would be using to either stream a game, which I've done, or play one that's downloaded. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
And it seemed like I would have given money to PlayStation to be able to play Demon's Souls on my phone if it was there.
Oh God, no, that would be terrible.
It would be terrible, but I would probably be the jackass that gave them the money to do it, and at full price.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they want my money? I'm not going to buy the PS5.
Yeah, exactly. That's So Sony is that's like the last bastion of this whole exclusivity is Sony, and I've loved
Nintendo.
And Nintendo, but it's the Japanese. But I've loved Microsoft's move into releasing all their stuff on PC as well. So no,
it's I don't think there's saves transfer and everything. It's nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't think there's been like an actual Xbox console exclusive that wasn't released on PC.
No, I don't. If there is, we're wrong. Whatever.
Yeah,
but I don't think there is one. Like Forza 5, man, it's on both.
Yeah. So it's fantastic, and I love the openness and where I can play any Microsoft game on my PC.
Well, that goes back to Xbox isn't losing the console wars; it's evolving.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
period.
That's the hope, yeah. But again, if you look at, I might not have shared this article with you. I'll put it in Discord real quick for you. There you go. So this article, it's in February week 2 topics. So this article, the PS5 has outsold Xbox Series X and S 2-1. Newly revealed sales data.
Who do you even know? Do you know anyone that has a PlayStation 5?
Yeah, almost everybody I know has a PS5.
So everyone here has an Xbox. Really? Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an article from yesterday. So new sales data suggests that the PS5 may have outsold the Xbox Series X and S by roughly a 2-1 margin. While it's common knowledge that Sony was outpacing. I contribute a large portion of that to the exclusives.
Oh, specific
Xbox.
So Final Fantasy 16.
Well, yeah. So
Demon's
PlayStation
Souls,
actually has
maybe
reasons to buy a PlayStation right now.
Yeah, but
you can only play the Final Fantasy 16. There's lots of it. They have tons of other exclusives on there that people will specifically go buy a PS5.
Wasn't 14 PS exclusive for a while?
The MMO? No,
that was 11. 11.
If you're talking about
15. It was yeah.
Yeah.
Because 15 has the Windows version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I contribute most of this 2-1 margin to the exclusivities. So there's actually reasons to buy a PS5 because there are games on there you have to have a PS5 to play.
Yeah, but
whereas the Xbox, you can play every single Xbox on your PC.
That's probably why.
Exactly. So I'm willing to bet, though, if you look at the actual sales numbers of their games, and I'm willing to bet this is why Xbox is pivoting into a non-exclusive market strategy, is they have looked at their sales number, and I'm willing to bet most of Xbox's exclusives, and I say exclusives meaning being on PlayStation or being on
PC
PC
or
and
Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet they outsell most of PS5's exclusives. So
I would guess that's factual.
Yeah, but that also hurts their console sales.
Think about this: the Xbox Series S is what, $300?
Is it? I actually
it's like $300. I think, depending on
recently,
sale or whatever.
Sure.
That's roughly 3 fully upgraded games.
Yeah.
People buy more than 3 fully upgraded games.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
The money is not in the hardware. Matter of fact, the R&D to make the hardware probably costs money.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
The money is in the software that runs on damn near everything, as we're finding out.
Yeah.
That you don't technically own. Which is also
technically.
Yeah.
Of course. Welcome to modernity.
Yeah. I mean, but like,
we'll own nothing and be happy.
Yeah. Klaus Schwab is right. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I mean,
but yeah.
But like, finishing it up.
Yep.
A game that I honestly didn't see coming, because they kept on they kept on making new Personas.
Yeah.
And I was content with Persona 3 and FES and PSP, P3P rather. Persona 3 Reload is awesome. I know there's probably going to be people out there that are like, oh, it's not exactly what I wanted. And to them, I tell them to fuck off. It's good. It's pretty much, it's essentially the same story. So if you've done it before and you remember it's not going to be anything new. But if you, like me, have been playing the other stuff, and it's like 20 years old almost, right?
Yeah.
Damn near 20 years old. It's not far away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it might be older than that, actually.
Wasn't it like 2008 or something? But
it was 2006, so almost 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years ago. So choose a platform: Xbox Game Pass, Xbox S and X, Xbox One, PS4 and 5, and Steam.
Yep.
The only thing it's not available on is the Nintendo Switch.
Wait, is it available on PlayStation?
Yeah, 4 and 5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
And this, it might not be an Atlas thing. It might be Sega buying Atlas was like, no, you need to make this available on everything. Because what Atlas has done in the past was like, was it Shin Megami Tensei 4 and 4 Apocalypse were only available on one of the handhelds. What was it? The X? No, what the hell was it called? DS? 3DS? 3DS.
3DS? Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't play. I can't stand little tiny screens.
Yeah, it was kind of painful to play.
Yeah. So, I think they've grown out of that nonsense. And was it Shin Megami Tensei 5's on the Switch exclusively?
Yes.
This is a game that everyone that's a fan of the series, like an actual fan of the series, at least knows about.
Yeah.
And it's available on everything but the handhelds and the Switch.
Yeah.
So it could be because it does have some flashy visuals. It's got 3 variants you can buy. I mean, this is a reload, which it's a remake essentially. It did it well. I'm going to put probably 75 to 100 hours into it before I move on to something else.
Yep.
As I did the first time I played it. Now, I can't think of another title, like right off the bat, that came out recently that I'm like, besides like a live service game, where I'm like, oh, I'm going to put 100 hours into this. I can't. I can think of several indie games that I'll put time into, but nowhere near.
Yep.
This is a game that's 20 years old. Almost. That's getting another 100 hours out of my life.
Yeah. Elden Ring. I did put in damn near 100 hours into Elden Ring.
So speaking of Elden Ring, which I also played today on the Xbox, because when you're in a different area, that's what you do. Elden Ring versus other Souls games.
Yeah.
Do you like the navigation on Elden Ring with the grace pointing?
Yeah. Yeah, I think its open world was actually one of the better whether that meshes well with the whole Souls gameplay style. I can see it being people not liking it or liking it, but no, I think as far as like open world and direction went, I think they did it fantastically.
So I came across a Reddit post,
okay,
where it was someone bitching about. So how would people figure out what all this stuff is on their own?
Yeah,
and if you're trying to be a completionist, I can see the point.
Sure.
However, I don't think the Souls games were meant to be completionist games. I think they were meant to be big enough that you could have a different playthrough each time, to an extent.
I could see that with Elden Ring.
Well, no, Elden Ring's
huge. About the originals.
Definitely not Demon Souls, because that was not an open world. That was a hub-based world.
Yeah, kind of.
And it didn't have, because you would go, each of the hubs was essentially a different level, and you'd play through it.
Yeah.
And if you died, you got sent back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep. It was and it pissed people off, I'm sure. I think that the lack of hand holding, it's a type of gatekeeping that I'm not opposed to.
Sure.
Because like you said, you only put about 100 hours into it. Did you beat it?
Oh yeah, I beat it. It's actually I have 161 hours. Some of that was, I
multiple characters,
take a shower, or no, I think I was actually all one character. I didn't play,
wow.
I never made a new one.
Leaving it on, and that's when we count hours. Like,
this is what Steam says. So
yeah. I mean, so let's look at some of the communities we're part of. We'll see people with like thousands of hours of gameplay in a game.
Yeah,
guaranteed they went and walked the dog a few times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that pads the playtime a little bit. But yeah, I probably honestly put in probably 130, 140 hours into it.
Yeah, it's It which also proves that you don't need to. I've seen people put a lot more into it, but that's one of those things where you go through it and have fun with it and then move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, which is what I'm doing with Pacific Drive when it comes out.
Yes.
Anyway,
yeah.
That is what little happened this week.
Yep.
That means anything to us.
Yep.
Not until what we got next week and the week after, maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, and then later this month we have Last Epoch, which that's going to get
a lot of good titles
coming
out this month. So
yeah, we will probably look deeper into Last Epoch. I want to see metrics. I'm specifically wanting to see the metrics from Last Epoch.
Yeah.
I think it is the spiritual successor to Diablo 2 as they wanted it to be. I think it has a lot of really innovative ARPG stuff, and it's coming in less than 2 weeks.
Is it?
Yeah.
Something to look forward to.
Yep. Anyway, last word, Saelum.
Yeah. So that's kind of the next fest. If you're looking to try some new games out, they got tons of demos there that we talked about. Xbox exclusives. I think it's a good thing. Let's hope Sony and Nintendo eventually go that route, because it would be fantastic to be able to play any game I want on my PC.
or yeah, a PC or whatever I wanted to play it on.
Whatever console I got. Yeah, exactly. So it'd be fantastic if I could boot up my PC and play the newest Mario game. Or
Okay, so that sparks another thing. Let's say exclusivity is removed. Okay, you've got Xbox, you got PlayStation, you got Nintendo, and you have PC. Say okay. And PC we're going to remove because that's really a conglomerate of many different companies, MSI, ASUS, all that crap combined to make a PC. Let's say the three main console companies, or Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, as they are, exclusivity is removed. And let's say people who like to make money are making their products so they'll work on any system. What system do you think they will use predominantly?
Whichever one has the best user experience and largest player base, which kind of goes into another point that I kind of
which will be based off of what?
Whoever has the best hardware for the cheapest, whoever has the best operating system on their console. But no, it'll refocus.
Is important, yeah.
Yeah, it'll refocus the console wars away from like exclusivity and kind of hoarding, IPs into who's actually making the better
innovation
product. Exactly, the better innovation, the better hardware product. What can run better? What can run faster? What is easier for the players to use? What is nicer for the player? The user experience of the actual console. It'll actually refocus, I think, the console wars into actually stuff that is beneficial to the player base rather than beneficial to the
PlayStation has made things that became standard, and so has Xbox. And now those things, like, they could do it again.
Yeah.
But that brings us to, This Week in Gaming.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. Catch us again next week.
Bye.
Yep. Bye. It's a single player game. We've got 5 crew members of the Tolpar are stranded in the empty reaches of space, shrouded in perpetual sunset. God is not watching. So it's a psychological horror game.
This reminds me of Videodrome or something like that.
Yes, yeah. So it's that old school. Yeah, we're actually seeing a lot of this art style of like the N64 era, PlayStation 1 era graphics coming back. You've seen it in Mouthwash. We talked about Abiotic Factor last week.
Yeah.
Has the same old school art style. We've seen a lot of those coming back recently, but this one looked in particular interesting to me. It's story heavy, and it looks like it's trying to do something new that we haven't seen before in a video game, which always fascinates me.
It looks interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. If anything, it's new.
It's new, and it probably isn't gonna hit your graphics card too hard.
Yeah.
Moving on to Abiotic Factor, which actually is a multiplayer game that has a demo available right now.
Yep. We were planning on playing it earlier this week, but we ended up being busy. So
yeah, always the busy. I built a new machine, so everything has to get moved over to the new machine so that both locations can be the same.
Yes. But this is actually the second demo that Abiotic Factor's actually had in the past couple months. I played the first one. It's again that N64 PS1 era graphics. We talked about it last week, but it's just a short recap. It's a survival crafting experience in basically Half-Life 2 in the Black Mesa facility. So it obviously doesn't say that. That's copyrighted, but it's very similar. The
spiritual Black Mesa facility.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, it's that, but with a survival crafting. So you loot resources, you craft a little base, a crafting table, bed, all that sort of stuff. You have to eat,